Hey guys, you're tuned in to Love Link Live. I'm on location at Humboldt Park Library with writer, director, producer, everything.
Everything under the sun, basically, for real. Marketer, promoter, babysitter, counselor, barber, whatever, everything. Right. Cook. You name it, it's being done and everything. What's happening, Brandy?
I know, what's good?
What's good with you, for real?
So for those of you, hey, Lucinda, the Media Princess is back.
Yeah, I like that Media Princess. I saw the like, yeah, that's perfectly fitting.
So for those of you who have been asking, I know you've been waiting on a new show, but I'm just going to be doing on location until I can figure out the exact spot that I want to bring you the best.
Dope.
So for today, I can't wait for this play that's coming up on Saturday. So tell us about the last 24 hours of Dr. King's life, because I never really followed him, and that I only knew what I knew from in school.
Exactly.
So I'm waiting to see what your take on this subject is going to be.
Definitely. So the name of the show is Hrs As King, the final 24 hours of the life of the final 24 hours of the life of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And basically, I mean, everything's in the title in terms of like what we're tackling in the show, what we're doing, what it's going to be about, and everything. And what you said was very poignant, because you're right. That's a part of his life that we don't really know too much about. We know just like the staples, the March on Washington, the Civil Rights Movement, and everything. So, and like the March on Selma. So we know those staples of his life and of his legacy, but not necessarily this story though. And this story was so interesting to me that I said this really needs to be known by by the public, because what really does bring about this story is the sanitation strike that happens in Memphis. So in a nutshell, what happened? This happened in the beginning of the night of early in '68. I believe it was February of '68. There were some sanitation workers who were working with some equipment in the area, working with equipment in the city. And the thing is, though, the equipment was not up to code. It was really outdated and such. And the sanitation workers were telling the city, look, these machines we're working on are not up to code. They're unsafe. They're very dangerous to work with. But the city was very neglectful in terms of updating them and getting them new equipment and such. So one night when they were working with the machines, because they weren't up to code and because they were unsafe, they killed 2 of the sanitation workers. And the workers were like, we kept telling you guys that these are unsafe conditions we're working under. You guys are not listening, and now we lost 2 of our guys. And so what happened was that the workers were like, we're fed up with this. We're going to go on strike. So they planned this big strike that took place that took place down there, and King got himself involved. King and the rest of the SCLC, they got themselves involved with the strike to really show their support and such. And so there were about two like smaller rallies that kind of took place, one without the SCLC and one with the SCLC. King wasn't at the second one. Ralph Abernathy was there. He was the one who was leading everything. But what happened was that things got kind of like ugly, because at the second demonstration, what happened, some of the local people who were also bringing about their concerns of unjust liberties and also unjust behaviors from law enforcement that were happening. They were kind of like, okay, so now everyone's starting to kind of pay attention to us because King and the SCLC are involved. But we've been saying this whole time, just similar with the sanitation workers, we've been saying this whole time that we have very bad conditions living down here. But now since King and them are involved, now you guys want to pay attention to us? So there was like a generational gap that took place. So King was out for what was going to be that third march, and this is the week of his passing. But the thing was that there were some hurdles that he had to take care of himself first, in terms of getting the groups that were upset the last time kind of calmed down. Because the last time what happened, they broke out with with some, not violence, but it was a lot of rowdy behavior and such. And because the FBI is always watching anything that was that was connected with the civil rights movement, they had their eyes on this march in particular. So King was saying, I will be there the first week of April for the sanitation march, and for the and to support the strike, the workers who are on strike. However, I need for these groups to, to settle down. And when he was there, he was able to get an agreement from the group that they will back up and they will not be a part of this. Then he was able to get an approval from the judge, from the local judge as well, for them to even have the march, because it was pending the entire time. And then, as we know, on April the 4th, that's when the assassination took place. So this show really does touch on all of that from the history standpoint, but also there are a lot of connections that kind of like touch on the questions that we have. That was this whole thing, taken care, was this done by a lone man in terms of the assassination? Was the FBI even involved with this? Could they have had a hand in this and such? Who knows? But the thing is, though, is that this show, it does touch on all of that, and it's going to really be able to challenge your thinking as well too, as an audience member. So it's a whole lot that's involved. So
it's a mystery. I got to get my Nancy Drew on and kind of figure out.
Yeah, exactly. Because there's going to be so many pieces of the puzzle that we're going to put out there, and it's going to be up to you, the audience, to really decide could it have been this way or could it have been the other way? Could so-and-so have been involved? What about this? Well, that is so many factors that are involved with this that really do challenge you as an audience member.
So how many years of research did it take to develop this script?
Not years, but many months. This was the most intense research I had to do for a production. Normally, whenever I do a production, normally my productions are all original pieces. And I would just do research as far as just getting kind of background understanding of the content that I'm going into, just so this way I can I can articulate it the right way. This, though, on the other hand, wasn't just articulating it the right way. I had to be accurate. I had to be precise. It had to be accurately, it had to be perfect in terms of what I was going into. So I had to go into research about not only the events of what took place, but also just even each character who was involved, each person who was connected, each person what they were thinking, what even down to the point of what the weather was like at that time, what the price of milk and gas was at the time, what the price of a hotel was at the time, and everything. It was so many small variables that played a role into this, that I had to make sure that we were as accurate as possible with telling the story. So I started the research for this. I want to say it was the beginning. No, I'm sorry, I'm lying. It was the middle of the summer. I started the research. So we're looking at about the beginning of July, and I didn't finish that until November. And then that's why it's boom, 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 bang at the script. Because after I had all the research, I had notes that covered this entire table. Then I was able to do the script, and doing the script was easy because I had so many notes to go off of. So that was simple, but it was just the research was really, really intense, because I said I don't want to write down. I cannot put down one word on paper until everything I have is in line and everything is perfect. So it was very involved, but it was totally worth it because we're telling a really fantastic story.
Was it difficult to get the right set and the costumes for that era?
It's been, It's been a little challenging, but the thing is that you'd be surprised how similar some of the outfits that are out there today kind of are from back then, especially with the pieces for the women as well. Last night, especially last night, my associate director, her name is Roxy. What's up, Roxy, if you're watching? Roxy and I, we went to the store, and I was like, no, I'm gonna take care of the pieces for the guys, and you take care of all the pieces for the women. And she had a cart full of outfits, that were just perfectly appropriate, for what women would wear back in 1968. Because normally when I'm working with these actors, I say if you have anything in your closet, you have anything in your house that might work with your character, feel free to bring it. This is when I'm talking original pieces. So we're talking about more so stories that take place current day. But since this is a period piece, I don't have that many cast members in there that were from 68. I have cast members in there who are 20 years old, so they're looking at me all crazy, why would I have anything from 68, Maurice? You know what I'm saying? So, but the thing is that when we were finding things, because she found a whole bunch of fits, they really do parallel with what they wore back in the 60s. And it kind of made me think that, it goes with that whole saying with, what's old is new again. How things kind of make a resurgence or a resurrection back into style and everything. And I kind of think that kind of applies with this as well too. So we found a lot of pieces that really do work. The men, it wasn't as hard because men wear suits. Back then, I know suit styles are a little bit different, are different now, but you can still find like a suit that can like, you know, that can like kind of match up to like what they were wearing back then and such. And even like when they were more casual, it'll be more so like, you know, you're talking like a button-up shirt, button-up short sleeve shirt or something. So like that wasn't as difficult.
So in light of all the police brutality, how do you think this project is going to tie in and shed some light on what we're actually experiencing now?
Sure, absolutely, it really does. Going back to so there's a few pieces. When there's a part in the show where Ralph Abernathy goes into talking about the sanitation workers strike and the issues that were going on in Memphis, and there is a part in that talks about the issues that the police were having with like the young black people who were in that area, who were in those particular neighborhoods and such. And we would see like those types of what we see now in terms of beatings, in terms of interrogation, in terms of intimidation and everything. We would see that because that is what they were talking about in terms of. We've been saying for the young black people who are living in Memphis, we're saying that we've been like expressing our concerns and our frustration about what's happening in the city for so long, but there's been no action. But now there's action now. Like what about our voices? So it really does touch on that, making sure that there's a tie-in to the problems that we face now to what we faced back then as well too. And in addition to that. This show is extremely diverse. So there's a segment of the show. There's a segment of the show that's going to talk about the Brown Berets, and they were a civil rights group that was based out in California that focused more so on on Latinos. But the leader of the Brown Berets, he was very influenced by King, and he will touch on in this show about the police brutalities that they were facing out there, and then you give a story about some young man who was coming home and he had some comic books on him, and someone said that he had that he stole the comic books, but I'm sorry. Someone said that he stole some comic books from a store, but come to find out he didn't have any comic books on him, and the police grabbed him anyway, took him to the precinct, beat him down so much that he died. And that was another factor of what really did influence the Brown Berets to become a group. So we really are touching on the pains and the issues that we face right now. They were alive 50 years ago, and so we want to make sure that we really convey that message, saying that this fight in terms of fighting for equality and fighting against a system that was designed against us. It still is alive and well, and we still have to continue to pursue finding a way to be able to eradicate that.
So tell me about, this is a very star-packed cast. We got Lakeisha B, we got comedian Sean Evans, and tell us about the gentleman who will be actually playing Dr. King. Okay, so this is a special situation, right? So we have two actors playing Dr. King, right? No, bear with me, okay?
Ooh, I can't wait. Yeah, we have a main actor. His name is Ched Blackshear, and he's based out in the northwest suburbs. He was in my show last year, Black Girl Magic She Means War. Superior guy, very, very polished, and he's been working with with the arts, with theater, and with music for many years now. But the thing is, out there in Schaumburg, there's not really too many platforms to be able to exhibit your talents. That's where we come in. So that's when I saw him last year, how he played his role as a congressman. I was thinking about Last Night as King already. I was like, I need to have Cheb on, to be Dr. King, because he brings that type of bravado and that type of he exudes that type of energy that King brings to the table and everything. He's absolutely just really, he brings a really strong presence, when you're around him. So he's gonna really be able to fill in those shoes properly. Now the second King that we have is so we have a segment in the show that goes back to 1965, and it's going to show the encounter that Dr. King had with Malcolm X, and it's going to be a back and forth encounter between the two. And they're really going to be putting out there their own personal, not only their personal proclivities, but also their stances of what they believe in terms of ideology as well too. So because obviously we know that King and X, were like, each other's, like night and day, each other yin to yang, really. And we really put that all on the table to show like where both of those men stand and how they contrast with each other. So who's playing that is going to be Andre Robinson, and he's based here in Chicago, and he's very, very accomplished, very polished. He's worked with ETA, he's worked with Black Ensemble Theater. I believe he's done some work with I want to say he's does work with the Goodman as well too. But he's really has been putting his footprint everywhere here. He studied theater. I want to say he went to DePaul. And studied theater there. So he's really polished in the arts. So we have some. You're absolutely right. We have a lot of heavyweights in this show. We have some heavyweights in this one. So you guys are, it's a good chance that, who you're going to see in this cast, will be some recognizable faces. We have a cast of 28 cast members. So it's a heavy cast, and they all range. Our youngest cast member, she's 9 years old, and our oldest cast member, she's in her 60s. And it's a nice range, a very diverse group. We have Black, we have white, we have Latino, all in the cast as well too. And also when it comes to experience, we have we have a couple of people who it's their first time doing some acting, to people who are regularly in television and film and everything. So we have the diversity of this cast is so beautifully mixed that you're just going to get so much from this and everything. So you're right. We have some heavy hitters in this one. Can't wait.
So, for those of you who may not have seen the interview with Maurice last year on my show, tell us a little bit about why you decided to go into the direction of writing and producing plays. Sure.
So, I've always loved writing, just in general. I've always liked to be able to write. This goes back to when I was a child, and I would like to draw and write my own comic book stories. I was really big on that. A few of my friends, we had like a little group where we would draw and we would write comics together and everything. We would trade them amongst each other and everything like that, and say we gotta do it with this. And we made our own characters up and everything, our own storylines. So that always was something that was inside me. And then after some time, that translated over to writing poetry. And then when I was in high school. Everyone goes through a little high school phase and everything. I was always writing rap lyrics. I was writing rap lyrics, and I was writing song lyrics, like R&B song lyrics. I would be in seriously. I know this is, and kids don't take my influences, but I would be in class as a teacher would be teaching us a lesson, and I wouldn't be feeling what she's saying, so I would just be in my notebook just writing lyrics all the time. But to me, though, I was telling a story, and I always was I had the idea in my head, so I wanted to put it on paper right away because I knew I'll forget about it if I do it later. And plus, it felt more organic when I was doing it right then and there. From that, it would just graduate to actually writing short stories. I was doing that a lot in college. Whenever I had the slim margins of free time in between studying and doing and partying and drinking, I mean studying a lot. in between studying, whenever I could write a short story, I always went for it and everything. And so this was always in me. It was always happening. And while this is happening, parallel to all this, my mother, she started a theater production that's based in Schaumburg. That's Powerhouse Productions, and that's the umbrella that's under. And so she would always ask me, do you have time to come out and help out with the show? Can you MC the show? Can you work the door? Can you do this part real quick? Whenever she needed any kind of gaps filled in, I would fill in those gaps for her. And we got to a point, and this was back in, I want to say this is in 2007 or 2008 or so. I believe it's 2008. I can't remember. But it was around that time when she had a director that was on board to do her next show, but he dropped out. And she only had a month to do the show. And so she's saying to herself, I got a month to do this show, but he dropped out. And so I said, look, and now this is like I said, this is actually 2010. I'm sorry. And I said, look, I have a plethora, mad amount of content on my hands right now. So I said, well, let me do the story. Let me do the story and let me direct it. You know, how hard can it be? Like, that's all. How hard can it be? It's easy. There's nothing to direct a show, you know? And so she was concerned because she said, I just don't want you to go up there and put some, you know, just put any old thing out there. What do you have in mind? So I gave her the idea of what I had in mind. She said, okay, go for it. Like, you know, let's see how it goes. And then so she gave me that ball. It was much more involved than I had originally realized. I realized how much I loved it, and the show was really good. For it to be in my very first show, it was really good. Like, looking back on it, there are a million things I would correct, but considering that was literally like my first time, I was coming off the bench, and I was getting the ball, and I was able to score with it. I was like, okay, I like this. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like this. I can do this. And like I said, I had a whole bunch of content that was already ready to go. So from that, so she was satisfied with it, and so she said, let's keep going with this. And from there, we kept making shows, you know, together. I would write the shows, I would write shows, and I would direct them. And I was saying, and I thought to myself, you know, I kind of want to branch away from just this theater. You know, let me look at some other theaters, like locally. You know, so I started looking at theaters out here in the city. Like, you know, Gorilla Tango, Skokie Theater, that's not too far from here and everything, Black Ensemble and such. So I started looking at theaters around here that I can actually apply my craft with, and, you know, things worked out and such. So it just, you know, it just really evolved. It really was like a seed was planted, like, you know, so many years ago, and then we kept adding water and sunshine to it, and then it just kept growing and everything. And it's still growing, and I'm excited about this.
So, guys, I have a surprise. Maurice is actually making a transition to film, and he has a project called Broke Ass. I can't say the last word, but fill in the blank.
Yeah, Broke AF.
So that's coming in April, I believe it is.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
All right, so it's Broke AF. That's it.
Yeah, Broke AF.
And we know what the AF stands for.
We know what that stands for.
So this show is going to be a web series. And we filmed it last summer, summer of 2017, and it was a great time filming. This show was going to tackle on the issues that people in their young to mid 20s age, when they deal with money. Why is it that when we're in our early 20s, in our mid 20s, why is it that we get so, you know, we go so deep into our pockets, and we spend money on the most unnecessary things? We're not smart with our money. We go about, you know, our financial decisions in a very juvenile way and such, and then we always end up, you know, at 2 days after payday being at a negative $3 in our bank account. So we're exploring six different episodes, 6 different stories, 6 different people who are highlighted in each episode, and each person has their own issue that deals with them being very low, you know, being low on funds. But all 6 of the characters are all connected with each other, though, in some way, shape, or form. So, you know, like in that one, we talk about, and it's a pretty diverse, you know, a diverse amount of situations that kind of take place in that. So, you know, there's one guy on there where he just, no matter what, he just cannot land work, you know, to save his life. There's one guy on there who was originally drafted from college to play professional sports, but he lost it all on a really dumb decision on one night. He's got a baby mama, but he lost every opportunity he had to make, like, you know, millions of dollars. And now he's, you know, like he has nothing. There's a situation where a girl is a scammer on there, and that's, you know, this is how she makes money, you know, going about more illicit, illegal ways. There's one guy on there who actually makes pretty good money, but he spends too much on trying to impress clients, so he always ends up on the broke side of things. So there's some really interesting stories in there in this piece, and that should be, we're looking to launch April of 2018. It may, because we're still in post right now, post editing, but we may get that out. If not April 2018, it will be out the beginning of the summer, you know, for sure. So we're gonna do like a premiere party for this, a premiere event, you know, for obviously for like family and friends and everything, and for special invited guests and all that stuff and everything. And then after the premiere event, when we show all 6 episodes in one, because all 6 episodes are all 15 minutes each. So when you put them all together, it's an hour and a half. You know, so it's like, so when you watch it all together, it's like watching a movie. And then after that, we'll launch it on YouTube and a couple other platforms, and we'll release them every week. And hopefully, we're looking to do a second season this year. So be on the lookout for that. If you're an actor out there, if you're any kind of artist, please hit me up and let me know. I'm always looking for talent for any project I have going on. And let's connect with that. But be on the lookout for that. But that'll be coming up a lot. I market like crazy. I'm a crazy promoter, so it'll be all over the place and everything when we get closer to that.
So once again, Saturday, tell us where we can purchase tickets for.
Yes, absolutely. It's going to be this Saturday night, the Schaumburg Prairie Center for the Arts in Schaumburg, Illinois. You can get your tickets at bsideproduction.com. That's bsideproduction.com. All you do is go to the website, scroll to the bottom, which is buy tickets, click on that, and it'll take you the way to buy your tickets. They're only $10 each. And that's how it was. We made the price very affordable because we want to make sure everybody can afford to see this. $10 is nothing. That's what you spent. That's what you spent today when you went to to get lunch with Patty from HR. All right, that's what you spent when you went to Chipotle to get that burrito bowl. So $10 a ticket. You can take your whole family and everything. And yes, it's family appropriate. It's for all ages. It's not just for grown folks. Young children are going to like this because they're going to see young people on the stage who look just like them, and they're going to be like, that could be me next time. I love that. So bsideproduction.com. Go to the website, purchase the tickets. It's going to be a fun time. I know if you're in the city, I know to you Schaumburg may sound like it might as well be Egypt. It's not that far of a drive. Trust me. It's only about 30 minutes with no traffic, 45 with traffic. Make a day of it. Come out. Go to Woodfield Mall, hit the mall up a little bit, go get something to eat, down the street and everything, and then boom, meet us at 6:30 for the show. Have the time of your life, fellas. Take your ladies to this. this is a good look, because
points.
It is for real.
Women like theater.
Seriously, women. Yeah, honestly, it's something totally different. Everyone just saw Black Panther. We all saw Black Panther. We all saw it last week. We are all still in the mood of really being ingrained of this Black love that we have going on for Black History Month. So carry that energy over and show her, baby, I took you to Black Panther. I'm gonna take you to Last Night as King. I'm gonna get some history of you, baby. You know what I'm saying? Like seriously, this is a good look for everybody, for real. So it's gonna be a good time though. We have red carpet. You can take a picture on the red carpet. We'll have vendors as well too, so you can purchase some stuff from the vendors and everything. And also you'll be able to meet the cast as well too when they come out. So you can't beat that for a soft plug.
So, what's your other social media accounts?
Hit me up. Find me on Facebook. You just type in Maurice D. Prophet. That's MauriceDProfffit. Find me at Prophet the Director on Facebook as well too. That's my page you can like. You can hit me up on Twitter and on Instagram at Mr. Prophet. That's MrProffit. You can find me on there. And and I'm also B-Side Productions is also on YouTube as well too. So follow that page, and this way you can see some of our past productions on there and our future ones that come up. So it's a whole lot. So we have a whole lot going on. So you do not want to miss out on it. It's a Black-owned theater, not only theater group, but theater, film, entertainment, podcasting, radio. We do it all within this and everything. So be part of this, and if you want to actually be a part of all the production itself as well. When it comes to future shows and everything, hit me up, and we got something going, and we'll make sure there's something for you.
So I want to thank my guest today, Maurice D. Prophet. I'm going to be in the building Saturday.
Awesome,
I can't wait.
Wonderful.
Guys,
thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, for real. I really appreciate this.
It's so good to be back. You guys requested it. Also, be sure to either email BrandyRLove, the letter U at gmail.com for show topics and ideas, or either post in the comment section. I'm going to be live from this page. I'm going to figure out how to go live from all my 12,000 social media pages. But Twitter is at BRLoveLink. Instagram is at BRLoveLink. Until next week, you have been officially LoveLink.
LoveLink. Oh, see y'all. Thank you.